Here's your riddle. What do we all do voluntarily on a daily basis, for which we've had absolutely zero training, and which literally affects everything we are, everything we hope for, and everything we become? I'd like you to think about that for a few minutes as we proceed here, but I'd like to welcome you. My name's George Rogers. I'm going to be your host on the Choice Skills video show here for the next several weeks, and I'd like you to join with me. Mostly I'm going to be talking to mothers, but if you happen to be a father or a teacher or someone who works with youth, then I want you to join in and become part of us. In fact, what I'd like to do is invite you all to become part of a larger conversation on what it is we can do to help supply our children, to give them what I call the missing piece in education. As I'm sure you have observed, we live in a rapidly changing and increasingly complex, I might even say increasingly dangerous world, characterized by commotion, confusion, yes, and even contradiction. It seems as if much of the world is in turmoil, with economic problems and social unrest and terrorism and all the kinds of crazy things that are happening around us and in the world. All of this can be very troubling and unsettling. And more close to home in many cases are the problems of drugs and pornography. As you know, we lose large numbers of our youth every year, in fact even every day, to the ravages of drugs. Now, when I was growing up in the 40s and 50s, well before many of you were born, the only pornography that I ever recall seeing when I was a child was a cartoon book. It was very crude and certainly not very appealing to an 8 or 10-year-old kid. But you know, today 8 and 7-year-olds are coming across pornography on the internet, and many are becoming addicted at very young ages. Even more disturbing is the sexual molestation of children. When I was growing up in the 50s, kidnapping was something that people did for ransom. The idea of people kidnapping a child to molest and murder the child was absolutely unheard of. It's not something that I even conceived of or even imagined until sometime in the 80s. So let me go back to the riddle I began with here. What is it that we all voluntarily do on a daily basis, for which we've had no training, and which literally affects everything we are and everything we hope to become? Think about it. We stand at a crossroads every second of every minute of every day, making choices. Which way to go, what to do, what to think, how to act, what to pick up, what to put down. All kinds of choices, hundreds and hundreds of them a day. Typically some of these choices are not very good. They're poor choices. And some of them are really good choices. And perhaps a great many of them don't make much difference at all. But the sum total of all those choices literally determine who we are and what we can become. And all of us are aware of individuals, either in our family or through association, who have made tragic choices that have literally ruined their lives. The question we need to ask ourselves is whether there is anything we could have taught them that would have helped them choose a happier course of life. More to the point, are there things we can do now? Are there things we can teach our children that will help them to avoid these problems themselves in the future? And perhaps more importantly, what can we do to prepare the rising generation, to give them the tools and resources they need to rise above the conditions in which they find themselves and to create a better world for future generations? So I invite you to join me for our web show next week, in which I will discuss what I call the missing piece in education, and what I think we can do and how we can help our kids. Now, I don't pretend to have all of the answers, but I have some of the answers. I've been working on this a very long time. And so what I'm doing is looking for like-minded people who can join with me. This is a big task, it's a big job, but it's a very doable one, and there are specific things that we can do today and tomorrow and the next day that can help prepare our children for the lives they're going to live. If you want to protect your children, if you want to give them the tools they need, I need you to join with me next week and pursue with me our course in learning how to supply the missing piece in education. So look forward to talking with you next week.